When I entered high school, I had my own preconceived notions about what my Spanish class would be like. My ninth grade class proved to be correct. It was just language, 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 doing drills over and over again, and I really wasn't learning anything about the culture. It was just a bunch of words thrown together. I knew that Spanish was spoken in many countries around the world, but we weren't really learning that. And I knew that there had to be more than just the language itself, that we're missing out on learning a culture rather than just the actual language. I went on a study abroad in 2009 to Spain, where again I kind of had the same preconceived notions. I was there to take classes, I was going to learn the language, and that was going to be it. There wasn't going to be much else to it. I was focused on my 3 classes at hand and wasn't expecting what I experienced. I walked into the class and thought again, okay, this is a typical class, but by the end of it, our professors became some of our best friends. They were our tour guides. They exposed us to the culture. They were very honest with us and weren't afraid to tell us cultural norms, what we should be doing. Really being immersed in the culture was more than I ever thought it could be. For example, learning the word El Faro to mean the lighthouse was something that I didn't learn in class. I had to be out exploring in order to learn these types of words and things I couldn't learn in the classroom. This is where I lived when I lived in Spain, and I lived with a family. So again, it was complete immersion in the culture, which is more than I could ever imagine. I was forced to use the language. It was active learning at its finest, using it with our families every single day. Being out with friends, just exploring the city, again, living with a family. This was just the most amazing experience. They taught us more about cultural norms, what kids our age did, what they liked to listen to, the TV that they watched, which again, we couldn't learn in a classroom. We learned about history, we learned about sports, we got to see the King and Queen of Spain in person. We learned again about cultural norms at a soccer match when a huge brawl broke out and we had no idea what to do or what was expected of us. So active learning at its finest. This was just the most amazing experience that I could have ever experienced. I was in control of my own learning. I went to shops. I saw the food for myself. I went to the running of the bulls, and it was my responsibility. This is something that I try and do with my own students. I try and immerse them as much as I can in the classroom with different projects. I have a lot of decorations up in my classroom to expose them to the different countries that speak Spanish, a lot of different artwork, things like that, to give them this type of experience. They complete many types of projects, one of which is a travel brochure. Since unfortunately we can't travel as a class, they research and create their own travel brochure about what you should do, what you should see, who you should know about, what you should eat, where you should stay. They also do other types of presentations where they explore all different kinds of Spanish-speaking countries, customs, history, music. They take control and they're active in their learning. They get the entire class to participate, and they are truly responsible for this entire presentation. They also get the entire school involved in celebrating different cultural events or recognizing this in comparison to our own in the United States. Culture is a huge part of the language, and by exposing everyone to that, everyone gets to kind of take Spanish in a way, even though they're not in a foreign language class. They also document these in portfolios that I call About Me books. They write things down that they learn throughout the year. Some of it is in Spanish, some is in English, because again, this is not just a language class, but learning about the culture and the customs and everything else that goes along with it. To continue this active learning, it's important to incorporate art, music, and other facets of the language that showcase their fortes. If they're not very good at speaking a language, for example, this really dives into the culture and lets them excel. We've had a lot of cross-curricular activities that show deeper cultural understanding of particular cultures for both art students and Spanish students. So again, this surpasses just the fact that they're learning a language when they're in Spanish class, and really is an active learning class where they're making hands-on activities. Students take on the characters of historical figures as well to really understand what their lives were like. They dress up as these characters, they put on presentations. This again is for the entire school to get everyone involved to show that Spanish is more than just a language. They do practice the language, however, with reading, writing, listening, and speaking stations, which simulates a more authentic practice as much as possible, given that we are unable to travel to one of these countries at this time. This gives them the best learning experience possible. Active learning needs to be more than just a language. It gives the students ownership and responsibility, and encourages them and motivates them to want to learn more, to do more projects, to learn more about art, to learn more about music. It helps them in other ways than just Spanish. Another great way to do this and to supplement the learning is through virtual field trips, so that they can truly feel as if they were part of that country, or see what the actual country offers. If they're able to speak to students from that country, then that's even better, because they'll have first-hand accounts.